Hey guys, Jim here from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. Last year in 2024, I beat 13 games, and I'm still thinking about them to this day. So, to get this out of my head, I figured, what the heck, why not make a ranking video so we can see what I thought about all these games? So the first game up is going to be Bionic Commando on the NES, an all-time classic to a lot of people. This was a Patreon review request. It was developed and published by Capcom, came out in 1988 on the NES, and I didn't like it as much as most people do. I found it to be extremely frustrating and very so much not friendly to newcomers. I respect what it went for. It's very cool, the very challenging take on the standard platformer. It is a huge improvement over the arcade original. It's got good graphics. It's, of course, got that legendary ending scene. It's a cool title, but I just found it so friggin' frustrating. And if it wasn't for save states, it would have taken me, so much longer to actually get through it. I played it through it a couple times for the sake of the review, so I got it by the end, and there's some fun to be had here and there. And once you're really good at chaining together all the movement, it's a blast, but the hitboxes are wonky. You have to be so precise in so many parts. And really, there's just so much trial and error that, I'm pushing 40 here. I don't have the patience for that. So, this may seem like blasphemy, but I gave it a C. Next up, Rocket Knight Adventures on the Sega Genesis, the original in the series. Developed and published by Konami. It came out in 1993, and this is a game that I've had since my childhood, but I had never beaten. It's just one of those games that just kept beating me and beating me and beating me and beating me and beating me. So I eventually got pretty far as a kid, but it wasn't until this year that I was like, all right, I'm going to go through this. And it took me some practice. I had to practice a lot on save states, and even then I barely squeaked by this game. The later levels are tough. They are tough. And again, not beginner friendly. And it throws some cool gimmicks your way. I absolutely despise the Rock'em Sock'em Robot boss battle. That thing is the bane of my existence. But still, it's a very cool game. I can see why people have some problems with it. But the music's great. The graphics are absolutely beautiful. It plays fantastic. The controls are top notch. If it wasn't just a tinge too hard for its own good, it would be an S tier game, but I'm leaving it at an A. Next up, Bionic Commando on the Game Boy. Yes, this was ported to the Game Boy, and it is a different game from the NES original. It was developed by Minakuchi Engineering and published by Capcom in 1992. I actually like this more than the NES original. I found it, maybe it's because I was used to the gimmick after going through the NES game, but I found the level design to be better. I found it to be more fair. I found the hitboxes to be a little less frustrating. It's still not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. The cropped in window can be a problem. There's a lot of blind faith jumping, but I just found it to be easier to figure out how to play the game and get through the levels. I had to use save states way less, actually barely at all, except for a couple boss fights that I just got frustrated with. And I know it's technically you haven't beaten it if you used them, but I'm too old to care about that at this point. But yeah, I just found it to be a much more enjoyable experience, and if you've never played it before, don't sleep on it. It's worth your time, so I gave it a B. Next up, Attack of the Karens on the Nintendo Switch. This is out on a couple different platforms. It was developed by Studio Primitive, and, the Switch port was published by Flynn's Arcade, who gave us a code to review it. I talked about it on the Power Hour podcast a little bit already. Came out in 2023. And I like it. The graphics are definitely a throwback to that somewhat monochromatic grays and purple look of the original Game Boy, but obviously way more detailed. And it's a great looking game. The music's pretty good. I like its roguelite-ish elements where the four main Karens, which are the bosses, are in a random order. So depending on which order you go in, a Karen that you're typically not good at could be way harder. and sometimes you just gotta hope for them to be in the earlier part of the game. There is a skill trait in it that you can unlock a lot of abilities, and it saves from play to play. So it's definitely not the hardest roguelite in the world. It's not the hardest shoot 'em up in the world, but it gives you a good challenge. It gives you a couple reasons to go back. It took me a decent amount of tries before I finally got through an entire run, but it's very approachable and it's cheap. So I enjoyed it. I gave it an A. If you like shooters and roguelites, but you kind of suck at both of them, but you want something to get you more into the genre, this is one to look out for. Next up, Thunder Ray. I played it on the PlayStation 5. It was developed by Purple Tree SLR, and I believe the PS5 port was published by East Asia Soft. So I think I actually wound up getting a code from them for this. So this game, what is it? It is a Punch-Out clone. It is a love letter to Punch-Out, all-time classic. The graphics are beautiful, and I actually like the 70s throwback kind of dialogue that they have in the game. Like when you hear the narrator talk, you kind of get what they're going for. The controls okay. It's not perfect. I hate the DualSense controller, so I always feel like I'm fighting it. Maybe I have one of the early ones that are like a little finicky, but just a lot of games never feel quite right on it, and this is definitely one of those games. And the gameplay itself, for a Punch-Out clone, like, it's close. It's close, but it's just not there. Because for the most part, you can really just bash your way through the game, and you'll get through 90% of it until you hit a brick wall at the final boss, who is a nightmare to go against. That's when you have to really learn the game for that guy. Everything before then, it gives you the little tip-offs for how to block and use your charged-up shots and stuff like that. Typical Punch-Out stuff, but I don't know. Something's just off about it. So it's not a bad game. I would like to see them do a sequel. Oh, it's also short. There's only 8 enemies or something that you fight in it. It's been a while since I played, but yeah, there's not a ton of opponents either. But it's a very good-looking game. You can tell love went into it, but it's kind of a miss, but it would be a nice stepping stone, I would have to say. So I gave it a C. Next up, Toilet in Wonderland. This was another Patreon review request, and this is an interesting one, as it was made for one of those indie game jam kind of deals. It was made by Team Nonsense. It was translated by Memories of Fear, which is how I was able to play it. It originally came out in 2010, and this was actually in the early 2010s, kind of a meme game because of the Mario meme around it, turning him into a horror character. I had never heard of it. I had never known anything about it. Somehow it passed me by. It's an interesting little title. I wouldn't go out of my way to say it's really, really good, but I like what it did. It tells an interesting story. It's chocked to the brim with meme culture references and pop culture references. Lots of music just lifted from other games. It's a fan-made game, so you're just going to recognize songs from Legend of Zelda, and you're going to see graphics from all sorts of stuff. It's got some really irreverent humor, but the biggest problem I have with it is how much it wastes your time. There is so much stuff and so many places and so many abilities that just go nowhere or do nothing and are really just there to distract you. So I can't give it more than a C in good conscience, but it's one worth checking out, especially since it's free. You can just find it on Memory of Fear's website, search Memories of Fear, and Toilet in Wonderland, and you can download the ROM there. Give it a shot. You won't forget it. That is for sure. Next up, for any of you who follow our Power Hour podcast, you know all about this game. Tetris 99. Developed by Eureka Dev and published by Nintendo, came out in 2019, and it is the Battle Royale version of Tetris. It's damn perfect. It's perfect. It's the perfect game to make a Battle Royale out of like this. I like Mario 35. I like Pac-Man 99. They're great. F-Zero 99 is great. Tetris is perfect. Tetris on its own is a perfect game, putting you in infinitely replayable games against 90 99 other people, 98 other people. Can I math? I can't math. But putting you against that many people, it's perfect. If you buy the physical, you have other game modes, and there's team battles, and no one really cares about that. The bulk of the game is just Tetris 99. It took me so long to beat it. It took me so many tries. It took me so many dozens of hours just to get one friggin' win. It was the bane of my existence, but finally getting that win was one of the happiest gaming moments of my life. I never went back. I'm done with it. I put in my time with it. I've been humbled. I suck. I talked a lot of trash when it first came out about how easy it will be for me to beat it eventually. Boy, did it humble me. It iron cheeked me. But I can't take away just how perfect of an experience it is. It's an S. Next up, Slay the Spire. Developed by Megacrit and published by Humble Bundle. This came out originally in 2019. I played it a couple different ways. I have it on the Switch, and I played it on mobile phones. It's perfect on the Switch as a game on the go. It's even more perfect on the mobile phone, as it plays perfectly. It is a deck-building roguelike for those of you who don't know. You can unlock more cards and abilities as you go through every time you play. There are different ascensions that are, the modifiers that can make it harder every time you go back. I actually went full ascension with the defect character. I absolutely love using that deck. This game took over my life. In about a 3-month span, I put in about 250 hours, which for me is absolutely insane. So, yeah, this is an easy S. I don't know what to tell you. This game almost ruined me as, a human being. But, my God, did I love it. Game number 9, Fallout 4. Developed and published by Bethesda. It came out in 2015. And, it's another Fallout game. It's another Bethesda Fallout. So, at this point, Bethesda-style games are, whether it's Elder Scrolls or Fallout, they're games you either love or hate. And I've always had a soft spot for them. What brought me to Fallout 4 after all these years? It was the TV show that was on Amazon Prime. I know Fallout fans kind of hate it because of how it craps all over the lore, but I didn't care about that. Taking on its own, it was a fun show that I enjoyed that really wanted me to get back into the world of Fallout. I really liked Fallout 4. I like most of these games, I had way more fun just exploring and dicking around and finding stuff and, unlocking missions, unlocking things, finding secret gear, looting. Loved it. The actual story, I wound up going through the Institute storyline. And if you talk to a lot of people online, it's probably the worst one to do. I didn't notice at the time, and I have to agree because I kind of hated it. It was boring. But hopefully the other ones are cool. I put 50 some hours in before I finally just finished up the story mode. So I really did enjoy it, but playing through the Institute mode, I have other stuff to do. It didn't make me want to come back, but I still enjoyed my time with it. So I gave it a B. I wish it still had a lot of the more, effects of your choices that New Vegas had and the skill trees that New Vegas and Fallout 3 had, but we know how Bethesda is now. It was the beginning of the end of them being more into the hardcore RPG scene. Game 10, Postal 2. I played it off Steam. This was developed by Running with Scissors and published by Whiptail Interactive. Originally coming out in 2003. This was a Patreon review request also. I remember growing up how much people talked about the Postal games. How extreme they were, how crude they were, how controversial they were. And I can definitely see why. If you play through it, it is definitely a time capsule of a game. It never clicked with me. Ever. I get what it was going for. It's a more extreme, take on the Grand Theft Auto sandbox style of game. You have your missions every day you got to go through. The world progressively tries to get crazier and try to kill you during the course of it. But it shows its age in a lot of ways, and it just wastes so much time. By the time I was at days like Thursday and Friday, I was so sick of walking through the same areas. And there's a ton to explore. It's crazy how much they crammed into this world. So I give them credit there. And the control's fine. And the humor, some of the humor still got me. Even though some of it's try-hard and some of it's dated. I still enjoyed some of it. The lack of music's kind of disappointing, but overall, I just felt like the game wastes too much of your time. And if it just, like, I get if it had fast travel, that kind of takes away a lot of the challenge of the later days. But it's still like, give me something here, man. That's why I actually enjoyed the Apocalypse Weekend DLC more than I like the main game, even though appear to be in the vast minority when it comes to that. So yeah, it's not my thing. I gave it a C. I respect what it goes for, but as a game, I'll never play it again. Next up, Truxton on the Sega Genesis. Developed by Toaplan and with its port published by Sega, it came out in 1989. And this is an arcade port, and man, what a port it is. If you are an old gaming YouTube fan like I am, you remember Classic Game Room always talking about Truxton, and it lives up to the hype. It's one of those games that you have to, it is tough. It is a tough game, and the Genesis port is the easiest version. So if you play the PC Engine or the arcade, you'll get your ass kicked even more. And I got my butt kicked relentlessly on the easiest difficulty. And you have to play through it 5 times, I think, to get the true ending, which I got an ending. I was happy with that. It took like 2 months of practice for me to even get that. This is a game that, like, it kind of tries to steer you in the direction of what items to use at different times. Some items and enemies and levels would definitely be easy with some over others. Or you can try and brute force it with just like your favorite loadouts. But yeah, this was a game that I had to get good just to get through the easiest part of. So I took it as a win. It lives up to the hype. It gives a B for being too hard for its own good for the casual player. But like, shoot 'em ups are a genre that I haven't gotten into until my 30s, but even shoot 'em up fans always seem to love Truxton or Tatsujin, whatever version you want to play. It's great. Check it out, but just be forewarned, it doesn't go easy on you. Oh man. Next up, Balatro. So, another deck building roguelike. Developed by Local Thunk and published by PlayStack, it came out in 2024, and man, this game again took over my life because I played it on mobile. It plays perfectly on mobile. This and games like this and Slay the Spire and like Vampire Survivors should not be on mobile phones because 1, they play perfectly, and 2, they are the ultimate time sinks. And I'm still playing it to this day. Now, I don't think I've put quite as much of an obsession into it as I did the other one, but I've gold staked like half of the decks at this point. So I've definitely been putting my time in. I enjoy it. I mean, it's such a refreshing take on poker that even people who don't like poker can enjoy it. I know there is a little bit of controversy where people are like, oh, it's promoting gambling. Shut up, nerds. Stop. It's different. But just the way it can suck you in and the way it's like perfectly balanced and so many strategies you can do with all the jokers and all the power-ups. It's crazy. And of course, that classic roguelike risk-reward kind of system. I mean, it's again, gameplay-wise, it's a perfect game. I'm giving it an S. I don't care about how simple the graphics are. It was made by one guy. It's friggin' perfect. Play it however you can. Last up, Berserk Boy. I played it on the Switch. It is also on Steam and I believe PlayStation at this point. It was developed and published by Berserk Boy Games and came out in 2024. So this is an obvious love letter to Mega Man. But it's not just like a Mega Man X clone. It also has throwbacks to Sonic and other platformers of the era, along with like the look of being a Saturday morning cartoon, where it's like trying to ape the anime style, but it doesn't exactly look anime-ish. It looks like a westernized anime. So this has got like, maybe it's a throwback love letter to the Mega Man Saturday morning cartoon show in that way. I don't know, but the graphics are perfect pixelated throwback goodness. This could have easily been like one of those top tier looking games on the PlayStation or, easily been on the Dreamcast. It plays great. The control is great. The music is great. It was done by the guy who did Sonic Mania, T. Lopez. I don't know how to say his last name. But yeah, the music's awesome. Voice acting, it's there, but it's all right. And yeah, I mean, the level design's pretty good. There's a lot of replayability. There's reasons to go back. There's a lot of reasons to explore with the items, even though it doesn't have as much replayability as you would think, because like it gives you these bonus levels and challenge levels for speed running and time attacking. So if you're into that, then you have way more replayability for this than I do. But If you play through the game, you've played through the game, basically. So that might be a knock on it. And the enemies in the game seem like an afterthought. The bosses in the game are kind of a joke. So, especially after you get like the earth power at the end of the game, like you just blow through bosses. So there's some missed opportunities here, but I could definitely see a cool franchise coming from this game. So as it is, I think it is a rock solid B. It's a game that is definitely worth your time. 20 bucks-ish, so it might be a little expensive, but if you see it for a sale, definitely pick it up if you like Mega Man games. Definitely recommend it to that kind of crew out there. And even on its own, very solid. And that was also a Patreon review request. So yes, that does it for this video, guys. What did you think? I mean, only beat 13 games, but between Fallout, Balatro, and Slay the Spire, I put probably like 600-700 hours into 3 of my 13 games alone there, on top of doing my homework for the page and everything else. So yeah, it's one of those years where I just got sucked in and life ruined by a handful of games, but everything I played, I basically mostly enjoyed. So let me know, guys, below which game from these were your favorites, which games did you beat and recommend from 2024, or even this far into 2025. And until next time, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, check the links to our other ranking videos, and cheers.